This film is number 8 of 16 film noir detective stories that were released during the 1940s. These generally short, full length films center around a detective who is suave, debonair, and sharp witted. This character captivated audiences during the World War II era. After 4 films, the lead was switched to the older brother of the original actor. This change in no way affected the popularity of the series. Hello to all the classic people that are returning. I'm glad you're back. I want to welcome any new visitors and let you know that there will be spoilers ahead. Today on Classic Movie Review, we are taking on The Falcon Out West, 1944. This series was created as a follow-up to the Saint/Simon Templar films that began with The Saint in New York City, 1938. George Sanders was in 5 Saint films before being tapped to play the Falcon. The Falcon Out West, 1944, takes place after Tom Conway, playing Tom Lawrence, takes over for his actual brother, George Sanders, who was in the role of Gay Lawrence. Both of these brothers are English, but Tom Conway comes off as slightly tougher than his younger brother. It's like comparing Sean Connery as James Bond to Roger Moore as Bond. One thing that remains true of all Falcon roles is that the Falcon is a bit of a man whore. Independently wealthy and living in New York City, the Falcon assists police in solving murders. Of course, the police are opposed to the help, and the Falcon often finds himself in trouble. Today's film is rated a pretty low 6.1 on IMDb.com. On RottenTomatoes.com, the film doesn't have a tomato meter score and is only 14% on the popcorn meter. Okay, so this film is not Lawrence of Arabia 1962, but at 64 minutes, it's a good way to spend an hour on a slow weekend. New York Times film critic Bosley Crothers wrote, quote, "Anything for variety. That seems to be the policy of RKO with reference to the gentleman sleuth, the Falcon, hero of a long series of films. Now for his latest adventure, flatly titled The Falcon Out West, just so none of the customers is likely to be confused, the producers have meshed a whodunit with Western atmosphere. The result is systematically novel. In other respects, it is old, familiar stuff. In the wide open spaces where crooners and stock Indians roam, the Falcon goes through his old routine of spotting the guilty ones." Unquote. I have to admit, I picked this film because it featured Barbara Hale, my childhood Della Street. I wanted to see some of her early acting. Actors. Tom Conway played the role of Tom Lawrence, aka the Falcon. I briefly covered Conway in the great horror classic I Walked with a Zombie 1943. There's a link below. Barbara Hale was in the important role of Marion Colby. This Della Street actress was first covered in the coming-of-age film Big Wednesday 1978, and there's a link below in the description. Carol Gallagher was the femme fatale Vanessa Drake. Gallagher was born in California in 1923. Blessed with good looks, Gallagher studied drama in California. She had 11 credits beginning in 1942. In most of these films, she was uncredited and mostly played dumb blondes. The Falcon Out West, 1944, was Gallagher's first credited role. Her only other credited role was in The Denver Kid, 1948. Her last role was in 1949. She was briefly married to cowboy actor Dick Foran, and they had a son. Gallagher died in 1966. Joan Barclay played Mrs. Irwin. Barclay was born in Minnesota in 1914. After she and her mother fled the cold of California, Barclay had a small role in The Gaucho 1927 with Douglas Fairbanks. He was reportedly very taken with the teenage girl. Barclay spent most of the 1930s under contract to Warner Brothers and the 1940s with RKO. She had a total of 94 credits that ended in 1945. These roles include a large number of westerns. However, there is no real breakout role. Barclay is known for Shadow of Chinatown 1936, Skyracket 1937, Blake of Scotland Yard 1937, and The Shanghai Cobra 1945. She also appeared in The Seventh Victim 1943, as well as The Falcon in Danger 1943 and The Falcon Strikes Back 1943, all with Tom Conway. Barclay wisely married a rich man and left show business. She died in 2002. Edward Gargan played the bumbling comic relief as homicide detective Bates. Gargan was born in New York City. New York City in 1902. After college, Gargan began working on stage, including Broadway. He also had a very good career on radio. Between 1930 and 1955, Gargan amassed an amazing 321 film and television credits. A large number of these were as a bumbling sidekick and were uncredited. Gargan is still best known for his Falcon roles. Other roles include bits in The Brasher Doubloon 1947, there's a link below, and Mighty Joe Young 1949, the latter of which was discussed in King Kong 1933. Gargan died in 1964. He was the brother of William Gargan, whom I discussed in Night Editor 1946. Cliff Clark played hard-boiled Inspector Timothy Donovan. Clark was born in New York City, in 1889. He had a successful stage career before beginning film work in 1933. During his career, Clark amassed 231 film and television credits. He specialized in playing tough guys like cops. Clark is best known for his 5 Falcon roles, but he's played a lot in well-known films. These films include The Crowd Roars 1938, Invisible Stripes 1939, Newt Rockney All-American 1940, Stranger on the Third Floor 1940, The Grapes of Wrath 1940, The Mummy's Tomb 1942, Destination Tokyo 1943, Fort Apache 1948, Mighty Joe Young 1949, High Noon 1952, and Scandal Sheet 1952. Links are in the description for most of those. Clark died in 1953. If you're getting value out of the show, I would appreciate it if you subscribe and leave a review below. It really helps the show get found. Story. In a swinging show club in New York City, young, blonde looker Vanessa Drake, Carol Gallagher, is excited about her forthcoming marriage to a wealthy older man, Tom Tex Irwin, Lyle Talbot. The happy groom makes his way to the crowded table while singing, handing out lollipops and generous tips. Vanessa drags her inebriated Texan to the table. Tom Lawrence, aka the Falcon, Tom Conway, arrives at the club. He takes time to elevator eye the cigarette girl. The former Mrs. Irwin, Joan Barclay, leads the Falcon to a table away from the wedding party. The drunken Tex waves his train tickets and leads his young future bride onto the dance floor. Miss Irwin tells the Falcon that he must stop Tex from marrying Vanessa. Mrs. Irwin says that Vanessa is only after money. Aren't we all? The Falcon says he is fine with a homicidal maniac, but doesn't want to get involved in marriage politics. On the dance floor, Tex stops, saying he feels like he's been bitten by a rattlesnake and needs a doctor. He falls before he can get off the floor. On the way to help, the Falcon bumps into a man who says, "Sorry, pard." That's a little out of place for this location. Tex wants to cut the wound, but they think he is just a silly drunk. The Falcon reveals 2 puncture wounds on Tex, either vampires or rattlesnakes. The Falcon pronounces Tex dead from a rattlesnake bite. He jumped a few steps there. The Falcon looks at Tex's wallet, but there is no money or ticket. The maitre d' calls homicide, but reaches the buffoonish homicide detective Bates, Edward Gargan, who hangs up. Inspector Timothy Donovan, Cliff Clark, insists that he and Bates check it out. At the club, Bates and Donovan are told by a doctor that Tex died of a rattlesnake bite he received within 2 hours of his death. Donovan is hot when he finds out that the Falcon is interviewing the wedding party guest. Donovan takes over the interview. Attorney Stephen Hayden, Donald Douglas, asks if Vanessa can be interviewed later after the shock is worn off. The Falcon sees Vanessa pick up one of the train tickets. He pinches the other ticket. The Falcon then tricks a cop and leaves. The Falcon gets on the train and is waiting for Vanessa in her once honeymoon berth. They have a testy exchange. Vanessa says the real answer is at the ranch in Texas. Vanessa tells the Falcon that everyone is against her. She also continues that her love for Tex is real. The Falcon mentions that the ranch has been placed in Vanessa's name as an early wedding gift. The train reaches Texas. Bates, Donovan, and Attorney Hayden are waiting at the depot to take Vanessa back to New York City. New York City. The Falcon tells Donovan that he can't take Vanessa back without extradition papers. Just then, an old-fashioned stagecoach arrives for the guests of what was formerly the ranch of Tex. All 5 people get on the stagecoach. The driver of the stagecoach is Dusty, Lee Trent, the sorry pard guy from the nightclub. The stage takes off without the driver and only Bates up top. Suddenly, a real Texas cowgirl, Marion Colby, Barbara Hale, rides down the escaped coach. The Falcon checks her body out as she rides by the speeding coach. Marion is the daughter of Tex's former business partner, Dave Colby, Minor Watson. Marion stops the coach and everybody is saved. Marion is really cold to Vanessa. The Falcon points out that there's a new bullet hole in the side of the stage. Marion and the Falcon flirt on the way back to the ranch. When they arrive at the ranch, none of the hired Native Americans are around. Marion says she will send the station wagon over to pick them up for supper. The power is out in the house, and Attorney Hayden goes to turn on the generator. Bates hears a rattlesnake. It turns out to be a kitten with a gourd. Dusty arrives and turns on the lights. Attorney Hayden shows an open safe he has found. Hayden and Dave Colby are the only ones with a combination to the safe now that Tex is dead. There is no deed giving the ranch to Vanessa. It is proposed that the Indians may have done it because their land was taken. The group attends a lavish cookout at the Colby Ranch. Marion is rocking a Spanish-inspired outfit. Donovan keeps questioning people about the open safe and business relationships. The Falcon follows Marion as she tries to destroy claim tickets from the luggage. He takes possession of the tickets. The Falcon also sees how to open one of Colby's locked artifact collection boxes. Marion admits that she and her father were also in New York, as was Dusty. Dave Colby was trying to stop Tex from getting married. They had a fight and left before Tex died. They hear a scream and everyone rushes out to find Vanessa with a knife cut on her hairline. Donovan takes the knife as evidence. Vanessa doesn't know who attacked her. Everyone has an alibi. When the visitors are driven back to the ranch, the Indian workers have returned. Bates and an Indian start a howl running gag. Miss Irwin and Vanessa have a little spat over bedrooms. The Falcon sees a bloodstain on Mrs. Irwin's sleeve. She says she scratched herself. The Falcon finds Bates listening through a door. The Falcon enters the room and finds Attorney Hayden and Dave Colby in a room working on paperwork. It appears to be innocent. Donovan arrives and the Falcon pretends that the men are having a poker game. Bates calls the Falcon back into the house. A knife with a Comanche scalp is attached to the Falcon's door. Dusty said it's a death warning. In the morning, Vanessa asks the Falcon to go riding with her. While she's getting the horses ready, he takes the opportunity to search Vanessa's room. The Falcon finds the missing $3,000 that Tex had. Dusty gives the Falcon a wild horse, but he tricks Dusty and jumps on another. During the ride, Vanessa asks the Falcon for help. She reveals that she has found the money in her suitcase earlier. Tom discovers that Marion is following the pair. Vanessa gallops away. The Falcon flirts with Marion a bit. He then tells Marion about the Comanche scalp and said it is probably from her father's collection. She rides away in anger. When the Falcon is riding back alone, someone fires a shot at him. He rides after, but can't find the shooter. He rides to the Colby Ranch and sees the hands near a horse with wet hoofs. All the hands give him the cold shoulder. Dave Colby says the scalp is from his collection, but it's not Comanche. Colby continues that Comanches don't give warnings before an attack. Donovan and a local lawman arrive in a car. They tell Colby that he must be at the Irwin Ranch for a 3 p.m. meeting. Everyone gathers at the ranch except Lawyer Hayden. Suddenly, Tex's voice comes over the stereo. Donovan can't figure out how the music was turned on. Miss Irwin dog-ears a page, and Donovan calls her out for stealing Vanessa's deed. It seems like she may have done the knifing of Vanessa as well. Eagle Feather, Chief Thunderbird, says that Lawyer Hayden needs help. When they find him, he has 2 puncture marks on his arm. He tries to relay something that Tex told him at the club before he died of the rattlesnake bite, but dies before he finishes. The local law arrests Miss Irwin. Outside, another rider fires a shot between Donovan and the Falcon. Dusty and some hands try to ride down the shooter. When they come back, the Falcon says someone sent a riderless horse to lead them away from the shooter. They search the ranch and find the shooter is Red, Perk Launders, one of Colby's hands. Donovan, the Falcon, Bates, the local sheriff, and Miss Irwin go to the Colby Ranch. Red confesses that they were trying to scare the Falcon away. The other hands chime in and say they wanted to protect Colby, whom they all think is guilty. Colby is disgusted that all his hands think he's guilty. Donovan then accuses Colby. The Falcon goes into Colby's artifact room and Marion follows him inside. The display case from earlier is locked and the Falcon breaks it open. Everyone from outside comes into the room. The Falcon opens an Indian medicine bag. Inside is the deed that gave the Irwin Ranch to Vanessa. Colby says Tex asked him to hide the deed because Vanessa was having an affair. Also in the bag is a rattlesnake ring that can be used to inject venom. Colby says the ring was made by the men of the Spanish Coronada expedition. He then says there's also a missing duplicate of the ring. The sheriff tries to take Colby and Miss Irwin into town, but the ranch hands stop the arrest. The Falcon and Vanessa are left alone in the ranch. The Falcon tells Vanessa that she is Tex's killer and he knows about the money and the knife cut. He also explains that she hung the scalp and turned on the radio recorder. He knew she hung the scalp because it wasn't a Western person that did it. Vanessa gets close to the Falcon in the best femme fatale manner. The Falcon reminds her that she stopped photographers from taking her and Tex's picture at the nightclub because she knew the wedding was being called off. The Falcon says that is what Lawyer Hayden was trying to tell when he died. Vanessa opens a necklace that has the duplicate rattlesnake ring inside. The Falcon continues that her lover is Dusty, the high-powered guy. Vanessa tries to kill the Falcon with the ring, but he overpowers her. Dusty comes into the room with his gun drawn. Dusty thinks Vanessa is innocent. Sucker. They take the Falcon outside, but find the law and all the ranch hands are coming their way. The Falcon cleverly hangs a second ring on the door. Dusty takes the Falcon out back. He fires on Donovan. The Falcon disarms Dusty, who is quickly captured by the ranch hands. The Falcon tells Donovan that Vanessa is the killer. Later, the old-fashioned stagecoach takes the Falcon, Bates, and Donovan to the train depot. It seems that the Falcon is staying with Marion. Suddenly, a well-dressed Hispanic woman asks the Falcon for help. When he finds out she's not married, he boards the train, leaving Marion confused and standing on the train depot. Conclusion. Today's movie is the 8th of 16 movies, if you count the 3 starring someone other than the brothers. This movie marked the 5th time Tom Conway would play the Falcon. He would make 5 more movies as the character, ending in 1946. This movie marked the 5th and final time that Cliff Clark would play Donovan. It was also the 7th and final Falcon film where Edward Gargan played a dopey detective. In the investigation scene where Tex's voice comes onto the stereo, a 1939 Philco remote was used. I had no idea that wireless remotes were that old. Bates was eating through the entire film. Food rationing was placed on the American population during World War II. His ravenous eating might have looked out of place, given the sacrifices of the population and soldiers. I assume there was abundant food because they were at the Source, a large ranch in Texas. The film makes a number of references to the Comanches. This tribe traditionally occupied West Texas and would have been well known in that region. The Spanish Coronado expedition of 1540 to 1542 did pass through the northern panhandle of Texas. This expedition met Apaches further west. However, in Texas, they met the Tejas, which are believed to be Caddoan speakers that are related to the Wichita. No Comanches. Chief Thundercloud, who played the servant Eagle Feather, was born in Montana. World famous short summary: a femme fatale strikes faster than a rattlesnake. If you want to learn more about the Comanches, there's a wonderful book called Empire of the Summer Moon, and there's a link below. As a technical note, references and citations are listed for each show on the site at classicmovierev.com. Thank you for listening and commenting. Beware the Moors. Okay, there'll be a couple of boxes that pop up here. The first one will be a film related to today's film, and the second one will be a playlist of film noir films full of plenty of femme fatale.